today we're going to use these strange little things to make a unique gin. That's the plan anyway. How's it going, chasers? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. Very quick story time, I promise. On our last wedding anniversary, the wife and I left the kids with the grandparents, stole off for a couple of nights, and one of the things we did was a pretty awesome, quite extensive gin flight tasting. And one of the gins we had really stood out as being different. It was a black tomato gin. Haven't tasted it since, but I do have some notes, and we'll use those in a second to try and help build this recipe. In any case, my wife wanted me to recreate that gin so much that she attempted to grow some black tomatoes. I say attempted to grow. They did grow, and they are kind of black, but there's not a whole lot of them, and they're starting to be stolen by the birds. So this is the point in time for making this gin. The first tasting note that I made for that gin, by the way, here's the actual bottle, is that it was quite heavily tomato flavored, but not the kind of sweet, like fruit-like flavor of tomato. It's more that almost viney smell that comes from fresh picked tomatoes. These smell like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the stems off the tomatoes, and this may be controversial, but I'm going to put a few of those stems into the pot. Tomato vines, leaves can contain a, I think it's solanine, something like that, which can be poisonous. I looked it up, and the boiling point for the solanine is like 750 degrees Celsius. I'm only going to put a small bit in. I'm not worried about it. I'm just flagging it. You can leave it in, you can take it out. I'm not going to put a whole lot in. I'm just really looking for that viney tomato flavor here. So that's 3 of the stems, 4 of the stems gone in. We'll stop there. And I'm just going to cut up all of these black tomatoes. Oh no, I lost a bit. I shall recover it. Just cutting them up to get the liquid into them to, extract as much as we can. Now, that is 23 grams. And I would think that is probably actually, wow, that smells good. I like that. I would think that's probably around about what I would actually want for this gin. But anytime I'm doing something like this and I'm using an ingredient that I haven't used in this situation, this way before, I tend to go with the screw it, let's use way too much approach. Because the worst thing that could happen is I make this gin and it doesn't taste like tomato at all. I get nothing from the ingredient and it just tastes like a standard gin. I don't want that. I really, really, really don't want that. I would rather it be way off the deep end in terms of tomato flavor, and I need to blend it back with a normal gin to get it back. We're going to go to 45 grams in total. And yes, I'm just using a standard tomato that we grew at home as well, but I've picked one that is way on the green side. Once again, because I think that's more of the flavor profile that was in that gin. 45 grams into the pot. Oh, we need booze. Okay, I forgot about booze. I am going to use potato vodka, which I made recently. I think it's going to fit this nicely because it has a subtle earthy flavor to it. It has an interesting floral flavor to it, which I think is closer to one of the tasting notes I'm going to talk about in a second from that gin. And it's just a really good quality vodka. I'm quite proud of the vodka I made here. So let me get that in as well. All right, the next 2 tasting notes that I took when sampling that gin with my wife was number 1. The actual gin flavors, primarily the juniper, were quite subtle compared to other gins. The tomato was way above everything else, but not because the tomato was a sledgehammer. It was because the rest of the gin had kind of been dialed down, and it made it quite delicate and dainty and made the tomato stand out. So I am going to be using, spoiler alert, one of Jesse's base gins. I feel like a dick talking about myself in the third person, but that's the name of it. It's available at chasethecraft.com if you want to grab some. I'm going to use one of these, but we're going to add a little bit more booze than I normally would to dial the flavor of this down bringing the tomato up. This is still over 90%, so what I'm going to do is I'm just proofing it down in the pot. Let me go get the water to do that. So with that water, we are now at 1.25 or 1¼ liters of vodka at 60% ABV. It's about 250 mils more than I would normally ever use for this. Sometimes I actually do less. So we can get this in. If you're not cheating and you wanted to make this from scratch, you can totally look up the video for this and get the full recipe of everything that's in it. It's not a problem. Juniper, coriander, orange peel, and I always forget the name of it, angelica root. Very simple gin mix. So the other tasting note that I referenced just before was that this gin had an interesting fruity and kind of earthy note. And I wasn't sure in the notes, and from memory, I'm still not sure if that was a yeast ester profile or actually other botanicals, other something being added in. It could be either. That is the other reason that I picked the potato vodka. It has a really interesting kind of generic, almost fruit salad-y, like I have to imagine that's a yeast ester thing along with the earthiness. So this was surprisingly close in both earthiness from the potatoes and the fruity esteriness. I want to double down on that though and add one more thing in because it had a slight like red stone fruit aspect to it as well. And I think blueberries might get us kind of close to that. It's going to give us a little bit of fruitiness, almost like plum nectarine flavor, almost. But we'll also get a little bit, hopefully, of the blueberry earthiness in there as well. So I'm just going to use frozen blueberries. So obviously, once again, I'm kind of shooting from the hip on this blueberry thing. I really don't want it to be a dominant flavor. So let's go with that. At 15 grams, I personally find it hard to taste blueberry in this stuff like this. So I don't think it's going to be an issue for me. Do I smash them? Do I cut them? You know what? There we go. I'm just going to cut them open so that booze can get in there. So in the marketing material for this gin, they specifically state a secret ingredient, which to me would be really freaking lame if that was any of the standard, if it was lemon peel, bro, it's a gin. If it was licorice root, bro, it's a gin. So I have a hunch, I have a sneaky suspicion that it is something, it is a fruit, maybe like a flower, hibiscus flower. I've done that in the past. That got pretty close. I can't see them using hibiscus flower, but something like that. I don't know. Dandelions. It could be. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let's get that plugged in. There we go. Turned on and heating up. I'm looking for about 50 degrees Celsius. At that point, I'll unplug it, pop the lid on, let it macerate for, well, it's getting close to dinner. So it's going to be after dinner when I come back to this, probably 3 or 4 hours when all that delicious flavor from the botanicals has gotten pulled out by our solvent, the alcohol. And I'll come back to you when it's distilling time. Time to fire this thing up. And just like that, we are up and running and almost through the weirdness at the top of the run with botanicals. I'm going to call that cooked. We can start collecting. You know what? I may as well just be collecting into a larger jar here, right? Boom, there we go. All right, let's have a taste. Okay, so right now, I'm getting about 80% of what I was hoping to get out of this gin. The gin flavors are dialed down right around to where I wanted. We're getting that slightly like red stone fruit thing. I have to imagine that's coming from the blueberries. Now that I think about it though, that could be a little bit of tomato as well. We're also getting that kind of watery, umami tomato flavor, kind of just like salted raw tomatoes. What I'm not getting any of is that viney tomato thing. Maybe we're not going to get that. And actually, thinking about it, if I really wanted that, I wonder, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this, if vapor infusion would have been the move rather than maceration, just for the tomatoes. So, macerate all of the other botanicals, but then put the tomatoes in the vapor path. I don't know. It just kind of feels like it would bring that flavor out more. Seems a bit more delicate. Anywho, I don't know. Maybe that flavor's going to turn up later in the run. We'll find out. We are getting pretty damn close to the end of this run, I think. Collected about 600 mils. I normally collect around about half what I charge the still with at 60%, if that makes sense. So 1.2 litres at 60%, proofed down to 40% to run the still. I'll normally collect around about 600 mils, and right now we're at 650. So that tracks. Taste starting to drop off. ABV starting to drop quite a lot. I'd say I'm actually down right around 50% at the moment. I'm going to collect just a smidge more, just to see, on the off chance, maybe we get some more of that viney tomato flavor. But I don't think so. I'll come back to you with a proof down version of this, ready for tasting. Sorry team, the weather has packed in, it is pouring down. I hope you can still hear me in the shed. We have the straight gin proofed to 45% ABV and the gin mixed in with tonic. Let's have a taste. Well, actually, let's have a smell first, shall we? Wow. Okay, this actually smells really, really freaking good. And doesn't smell a whole lot like a gin, I have to say. And that is because all the normal gin flavors are a little bit further down the list here. So there's a little bit of tomato on top, but it's almost more like not tomato flavor, it's like tomato presence. I don't know, man. Tomato to me almost tastes like umami nothing. Does anyone else get the same thing from tomato? It's delicious, I love it. But unless it's like ketchup or pasta sauce or on a pizza, like fresh tomato is delicious, but it kind of tastes like nothing. I don't know how to describe it. I get that on the nose though. And then there's the blueberry, kind of earthy, berry-like red fruit sweetness mixing with the estery sweetness from the vodka. And that's kind of balanced. The juniper sits a little bit above that. And honestly, the coriander's kind of I'd like it dialed down just a smidge. Like I'd probably take a gram, maybe a gram and a half out of the recipe if I was going to make this again. All in all, though, it smells amazing. Let's have a taste. Okay, so what we didn't have on the nose was that viney, fresh, like you've literally just pulled a bunch of tomatoes off the vine smell. Not quite getting that on the tongue, but what I am getting is like super, super fresh. You grew it in your garden. You didn't wash the damn things. You just plucked it and ate it like tomato skin, which is very similar to that viney flavor, but not quite the same. Yum, I like it. Erin, you want to try this?
That feels like a lot of pressure. Can I try this one?
So you're not hiding behind you.
That's really good.
Erin's been out here putting orders together for people.
In the
Don't
rain.
let anyone see addresses. Oh no, you're hiding it. Cool.
No address. Wow, it tastes so different in the tonic. Why? I'm guessing it's tomato.
It is.
It's not super tomato-y. It's a bit sad. But it is earthy.
What I get from it more...
It's earthy and good, but I don't get tomato.
Well, yeah, what I get more is, you know how when you put salt on tomato kind of tastes like umami nothing?
Yeah. It's so awkward.
This means I'm a YouTuber now doing this.
Apparently. It's really good. I would think of it like some sort of yummy earthy gin. I wouldn't think of it as tomato. I wish it was more tomatoey.
It was a long time ago when we had that bottle. Do you remember? We talked about for ages how it didn't taste like tomato. It tasted like tomato vine.
Yeah, it was viney. You're right. I don't get that at all with this.
I don't get it on the nose, but what I get is like fresh, you just picked it, tomato skin.
Yeah, did you use the black ones? Oh. Maybe bad growing.
Yeah, they definitely weren't optimal, but the birds are going to smash them like the other ones. It's really good though, right? It's yum.
It is good.
Yeah. The last note I had after sampling that bottom was that I got a slightly salty, saline-y kind of flavor, like iodine-y, salty. I couldn't quite pick it, but it was very savory. And looking on their website, apparently they use seawater. So, I don't have seawater. What I do have, hold on, let me stop being a prick. And there we go. What I do have is just flaky sea salt. So, I don't know. It's not dissolving. I'll come back to you in a minute or two. I don't know why I'm surprised, but that is literally like salting tomato. All the tomato flavors have come out more. It is more aggressive. It almost drinks more like a scotch. And I think I've overdone the salt a little bit. But dang, man, there's something to that. It's literally like making pizza sauce. Like a super basic Neapolitan style pizza. Really good tomatoes. Like kind of crush them up. Taste. Okay, fine. Touch of olive oil. Salt. Simple and delicious. It's kind of honestly what it's done for this. For distilled spirits, we tend to use sugar as the seasoning. Maybe we should use salt a little bit more. I don't know. Or MSG. Anyway, I'll catch you next time, team. Keep chasing the craft. See ya.